Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell 'em. Look, I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. Hot or cold, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles, compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles, go take care of your business. Success Chronicles, it's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker, coming to you with the Hangout and Highlight session with my good friend Amy P. Kelly, amazing lady, with a great heart for service to help others. And we just decided to just get on today and just do some back and forth. This is how good her heart is. So she has a new project. I reached out like, hey, I'd love to get you on to highlight your new project and let's get it out there. And so we're talking and she's like, hey, well, how about I ask you some questions? And I'm like, hey, no, it's supposed to be about you. but that's just true testament of the person that you are and how you do what you do. And I'm truly grateful that the big man has allowed us to cross paths. And so it's been an amazing journey. So thank you so much, Amy P. Kelly, for who you are.
Well, Chip Baker, yes, thank you to you, and thank you to the man who brings us together, our God. And I believe that the people who listen to your amazing commitment to highlight different people equally want to hear about the incredible things that you're doing. When you told me you were doing a documentary, I was like, of course he is, but what? And then it was in a movie theater, and so it's more interesting, I guess. For the people listening, like, let's tell all the goodness we can from all the angles, and give you as much things to encourage as possible while we're talking.
That's good. Well, let me jump in and ask a question first, and then when you answer, you can do a question, and we just go back and forth for a little bit. That work?
Yes.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about your background. Like, I know the journey, what you've done in the past and what you're doing now, but give the audience, some of your background and update us to where you are now.
Thank you so much. It's always nice to be asked about that because there are so many different ways to share your quote background, right? And whether it's going from your resume or really going back and thinking, well, I was born in 1973. And no one is signed up for that episode. But I will tell you that there are some common threads and that I hope make you laugh. My background has what I think I see now are some commonalities. I was the oldest of three girls and got asked to take care of my two younger sisters real early, and I was so happy to do it. I liked to be in charge. I liked what I thought was helping, and I think it was helping. And then was a brownie and was a safety patrol, and just in college I was an RA, and then just trying to do something good for the team around me was and so that carried through into, when I graduated from school and started working, and over time ended up in the field of human resources, which I love business so much. I've just loved business since I was a teenager. The idea that you could make something that you thought was meaningful and then that you could sell it to other people who wanted it or could get use from it. And then you could not only, take care of yourself, but potentially help other people with the resources from it. I'm like, this is amazing. And so it's kind of an art form that I have seen. And I loved when organizations took their HR brand and how they brought employee experiences to their team with as much of a prioritization as their business plan itself. And so that brings us kind of to where, closest to today, got to be a part of a couple teams and as the VP of HR or the director of HR and training, and then started working as the vice president of Jon Gordon's Positive Training Company for the last 10 years, and really working on developing cultures, mindset, leadership, teamwork. How do you develop people so that they can become and the leaders they're created to be and help the organization that they're a part of and be a great teammate? And that's what I love to do.
So good. Thanks so much for diving deep and sharing that journey. And I just think, in that, again, like I said when I started, in what you said, I think everything was about service, right? Everything was about learning and growth and helping others. And I just think that that's in your DNA. And again, it's been a true blessing to lots of people. And it's so cool to have been able to just watch the journey, just to see how things are going and the products that have been produced and the quality of everything as well. It's just amazing to me.
Well, thank you, Chip. I
Yeah.
appreciate that because I have also gotten to see your heart, and I know that you are deeply committed to the work that you do. And I see a lot of things too that encourage me every Monday because generally it's a picture of you with a big group of students or a big group of people, and you're like, go get it. And I say, yes, I will, Chip Baker. Thank you so much. And I love to see you encouraging young
Love it.
people. And
Yeah.
it really doesn't have an age limit. We all need to be reminded of the good
Mhm.
that is ever present, even with all the challenge that is real. And so tell me a little bit about your story.
Yeah, sure. So my journey, my story, background, um, long time educator, come from a family of educators and church people, church folk is what I say. But I say that because, as a young guy, I was taught as well to live a life of service and strive to help others, strive to do things the right way. What you say is what you mean, and what you mean is what you say, be a man of your word, all of those kind of things. And I feel that I've been truly blessed to, first off, have a great family, both sides, my father's side and my mother's side, raised by a single parent mom. So, had some struggles, saw some things growing up, played sports my whole life, four sports for 4 years in high school, played college football, coached, man, for 20 years. I'm in my 27th year of education now. I coached for 20 of those years, was a head coach, athletic director for a little bit in my hometown, and man, just lots of things, lots of opportunities along the journey. Then about 9 years ago, started my YouTube channel and podcast, The Success Chronicles. Just interview people from all walks of life and share their stories. And then a couple of years after that, I started writing books. And to the day, I've written a few of those, collaborated with some amazing people, and that brings us to where we are now. And so just that's the journey in short, but reflecting on the journey, it's been so cool, right? Like I used to sit on my porch and dream and make goals and all of those kind of things, and like I would have never imagined any of this going on in my life. I mean, I even 8 years ago, I would never planned or imagine any of this. And so I think it does two things for me. Allows me to stay humble, um, right? Because I know my background, I know where I come from, but it allows me to stay hungry too, to strive to achieve more and do more to be of service to others.
Yes, I get to see that. I've personally experienced it. I've never been in an event where Chip has been where he hasn't been trying to help.
Yeah,
What do you need? How do you, oh, can I hold this for you? Oh, what can I do to make things easier for other people? And
yeah,
anyway, it's nice to um just fuel your belief that we hear so much about just what isn't right and what isn't working that when we
yeah.
get to see what we can impact in our personal relationships and in our friendships and in our just daily interactions, it's kind of boundless opportunity for good fuel,
Hmm.
and you bring it, and so you're just a beacon for that. So
Thank
thank you
you.
for that. And
Yeah.
even when I texted you recently about something, I know I was in church and or near, it was some kind of message that I wanted to share that made me think about you, um and you very transparently were like, I needed that. And it just
Yeah.
reminds me that bringing people together, we do need each other, no matter how much everyone looks like. Look at all the lessons learned. Look at all the strength we've
Yeah.
built. Look at all the resilience
Oh
that
my
we've
gosh. Yeah.
managed to kind of acquire and build over the years. Well, it's you're going to get hit with something even more astoundingly challenging, and the people that understand that are there exactly for those times.
Mm.
And you didn't say everything's awesome. You're like, I think it was good timing that you sent that.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
it definitely was. I think just hearing you say that, I think that stresses to me the importance of having the right team, having the right people around you, your community, your family, who you're around, people that can encourage you, that can build you up, that can pour into you, that that are willing to help, right?
yep.
So many times, we may think that, what we do, I'm just trying to do what I do and try to make it. But like when you take that extra step to just strive and help others, and people need that.
Yep. And one thing that that I've seen you do really well, that is something I also admire in my husband is, and I've learned more about how to do this over the
Mhm.
years. I try to just keep my peace with it, but he's like, if you're in someone else's proximity, and I know that there's been a book even written about this, but he's like, if you're in a hotel in Dallas and your friend Chip is like 30 miles away, why would you not see your friend?
Oh
And
man,
oh, my feet hurt and I'm tired and I want to eat my salad
yeah,
in my hotel room and just, roll over. And
yeah,
anyway, the thing is, there's so much that goodness that happens when you make sure to have real connection when you're
yeah,
near other people. And you're such good at that proximity principle, so good at it. Of, every time we've had the opportunity to be as close as we could go ahead and break bread or meet up with someone else and have coffee, we have. And something divine has always come from it. Not necessarily even for you or me, but for someone else who we were able to hear them and learn what they were doing. Just like we're talking about sharing today, by taking the time to talk about what is good, what is going on, and, how can we encourage and be encouraged. It just is a really important, significant component of our lives. So,
yeah. I think too. I think that's a heart set, I believe, right? I think when you have the heart set like that, and you have the right intentions, as you were talking about all of those things, like I was thinking about like how all of those things transpire for us to be able to do that, you know, and so like those things don't just happen. You have to be intentional about that. I can't not let y'all be close to me and I not come see you. Like, come on. Like that's going against the rules, right? That's
it is
breaking the
the rules. And
rules.
it's like, that's how I felt about James Ashworth and his team. I was
Yeah.
like, James
Hmm.
Ashworth is amazing.
Yeah.
And he has a legacy at Southwest. He can't be living that close to someone else who's amazing, Chip,
Yeah.
and they can't not meet. And then you guys meet, and then all those different components are so important. And, I love thinking about the great people at Southwest Airlines. And I haven't been there or done anything with them in a while, but I love imagining you walking the halls and interviewing people there, and then may we someday get to go back there together. But those commitments to the 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 time to share, it's a big important piece of life.
Yeah.
I've prioritized it more and more the longer I go, and it has to do with everything we're talking about today, whether it's the impact of influence,
Yeah.
highlighting things, just the successes, the book series that you've written, and all the people that you've given the courage to share their stories,
Hmm.
and whether it's in this format or in the books or otherwise. So it's cool.
I think I've said this before, and then I'm gonna jump to the next thing because I got another question for you. I want to dive into your project, but I've said this before, and I'm blessed to have some great people in my life that pour into me, right? And I believe when you take the first step to try to do amazing things to be of service, you become a beast, right? And I believe that beast attract beast, right? And so like in our case, prime example, there have been some things that I've been striving to work on that, I was able to say, hey, Amy, what about this? Oh yeah, well try this, and vice versa. We've bounced some things off of each other, and then it's really cool to see when we put those things to action and it's working. Like that's the beauty of it. And so that's why, man, I'm just so excited for you and so happy for you, and wanted to make sure I got you on to talk about this new project that you have. Talk to us about that.
Thank you. Well, I am excited about it because it's something I've believed a long time, and I know that I'm not the only one, but it's called Work is Personal: How Authenticity Drives Performance and Culture. It's a book coming out on April 10th, and it is my HR/business heart on the page. And before you say, oh, I'm not get that book because it's about human resources, that's not what it's about. But it does come from a woman who has played that role in companies. And what happened was years ago, I was in a day where many people were getting terminated, and I was the head of HR at the time, and it was not a good day. There was no way to say it was a good day. It was very hard. It was horrible for a lot of people. It was even worse for others, and it was just conversation after conversation. And obviously, I knew I wasn't the one that was suffering the most, but it just took a toll on everyone. And so at the end of the day, I went to the office of someone that I highly respect, and he was trying to console me, but I had to kind of say what the status was. And he said, you know what, Amy, it's not personal, it's just business. And I just thought, oh my goodness gracious. Like, who said that? And how am I going to make sure that does not get said anymore? And it wasn't that individual is an amazing person. And you probably heard that saying so many times. I said, I want to find out who said that. And it turned out that that phrase is accredited to this gentleman, Otto Berman, who was an accountant for the mob. And you can kind of imagine the mob saying, hey, and then people have heard in The Godfather, etc. But it's not personal, it's just business. Well, that's just not the way it is. Its work is very personal to all of us and to varying degrees, but it's where we spend the most time, usually. And if you're purpose driven, like you, Chip, and like me, it could not be any more personal. And it's not an excuse. It was used, that phrase was an excuse to dehumanize things that were hard and to try to separate the humanity from these bad moments. And ultimately, it was really interesting, maybe in a good way, maybe not, but I was interested because I was watching this show on Netflix called Hightown, and it was just like a kind of a crime movie, and it's a series, and there were a bunch of gangsters doing all kinds of different things, and this one gangster gets so kind of like, you could tell something big was going to come off his chest. He was sitting there, and this was just this past year when I was writing this manuscript, and out of the, he's sitting there and he says to this other guy, he goes, we've been telling ourselves a lie for so many years. It's all personal. And I was like, you're right. It's so, and I'm not saying that I like the mob, but I'm like, this is something that's becoming more and more evident in work. It's not a totally new concept, but right now, the reason I believe it's particularly relevant is just like when cars came on the scene, or just like when the Industrial Revolution happened and machines were coming into like assembly lines. People were saying, they're going to take all the jobs. The machines are coming. And, AI is a big deal, and it is going to impact the roles, the roles that we have. It's not, the jobs that we have will not be the same jobs that we have 5-10 years. They've already been changing. And I know that causes a lot of just challenge, fear, concern. It's not new though. We've been in the same situation before. And work, the humanity aspect, the fact is, machines make things efficient, but humans bring meaning. And we will always be a differentiator, and you may have to learn new things, and we may have to fight in different ways, and you may not be in the same role that you originally thought you would have when you graduated from college. And, at this point, people know whether I go to school or not, the role that I'm in I might go for something that isn't even a job anymore. For the past few years, people have wanted to be in cybersecurity. Well, now, maybe that's not the only job that everyone wants to get when they get out. So, anyway, you can tell by this long answer that it's something I care a lot about. And the framework that I put together to help build authentic, high performing workplaces for anyone who's running into any type of organization is in the book, along with some stories. And when we talk together, I think one thing that helps us in the work that we get to do is I'm relatively aware of how flawed I am and how many mistakes that I've made so far. And I'm not joyfully sharing every horrible thing that I've ever done, but I'm willing to say they're there. And people need people to be real in the workplace too, because a lot of times you're dealing with the hardest things in your life and you're still having to go to work during them. And how do we help each other? We can still be very professional, but help people not have their entire life fall apart when they have a crisis. And so there's so much that goes into the different facets of the employment relationship and how you can still have a thriving organization, but be real and supportive to people. And there's just suggestions in the framework that I have on how to do that.
So good. Um, I love that, taking the personal experiences from what you've had, and uh, frameworks work, right? Systems, having systems in place, they allow you to move more efficiently and effectively.
Yeah, the framework is called Be Real, and each letter in Be Real stands for a different part of the employment relationship, and even to the L being leaving employment but not relationship. How do you have that transition where you can still maintain that? So, and inside of each element, there are practical tools and resources. And something that I really like and I've balanced, but there's a lot of research in this book too. A lot of research. So that's what's going on right now. But what about you?
Oh, wow. It's been a whirlwind since uh, Thanksgiving, or I'll say Thanksgiving, but November of 25. Well, previously, we did the Impact of Influence book series, and that was amazing. Just so many cool things have come about from that: tours, connections, opportunities, for everyone involved, and so we just wanted to cap it off with the documentary to highlight it. We were able to do like a real documentary in like a real movie theater, like crazy. And so that was amazing. And then I've worked on some projects. As everybody knows, my thing is go get it. Right. I believe that no significant success is just going to come to you. I believe you have to go get it and make it happen. And then the last time I was around my good friends, you guys, I was encouraged by Jon Gordon to do a go get it book. Right. And he told me in that time period, like 6 times, you need to do a go get it book. You need to, I can see it. I can see it now. Your face on the cover. You need to go do a go get it book. And so we have a go get it book. And so that's out: 7 principles to live a legacy. So many times we think about leaving a legacy, right? So many times we think about leaving a legacy, but I think when we are intentional with our actions, oh, we want to strive to live a legacy by our day-to-day actions, which pushes us to do better and be better. And then from there, um, we've created a go get it manual, participant guide, with the help of a good friend, had some advice for me. Uh, but just created that. And, my goal is to teach, always a teacher, once a teacher, always a teacher. So my goal is to teach some of those principles from that, the frameworks of that. And then, just most recently, in 26, I'm going to drop 15 kids books. And so the first one I did was teacher, with my background in education. So this was the first one. I've already released that one, and it's been out, a couple months. But then this one is a surprise, and this one isn't. I haven't even put this one out yet, and everybody doesn't know about this, but
Oh, you've told me so many times about how, oh, I love that.
yeah,
That is everyone's Mother's Day gift right there.
right there, my mom, my superhero. I tell people I was raised with a superhero in my house, and so um, my goal. I've been working. My mother passed about 5 years ago, and I've been working on doing a book about her, and I'm still not to the point to where I can just dive into that yet. And so this is just me just scratching the itch a little bit, doing a kids book where I don't have to be so in depth with it as I'm continuing to work through all of that. But eventually I will do a full book. I have lots of it, but it's just hard for me to continue and finish that right now. So, but that's kind of that's the projects that I've been working on, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, I am happy to say, and we were talking about kind of a little bit of just, I won't linger on it. We've been in a little bit of a journey in my house with the heat. I've got my own personal heater right here. But anyway, some of my books are on my bookshelf here. Some are in my other office. I've been
Yeah.
moving around, but I have a copy of Chip's new book that John kind of encouraged you to write, signed by you. So it is a wonderful book that I think is going to continue to impact people, especially along with the workbook. And the way that you generously give your time to especially the youth. I mean, sadly today, Chip, we were talking about I was excited that today is the day that Glue came out a few years ago, which is one of the
Hmm.
books that I wrote that when we first became friends, we bonded, pun intended,
Yeah.
over the term glue
Over the glue.
because you
Yeah.
prioritized being glue to the people in your life at the time.
Hmm.
It's completely independently. It just meant something to both of us. And in my life, it meant God's love unites everyone, and that glue acronym. And then you spend a lot of time encouraging young people. And you talked about being an educator. You bring your book, your workbook to all different age groups. Um, and today, someone that is friends with my youngest son, Samuel, they found out this morning that he committed suicide. And our youth is so under attack. And we know this, whoever's listening, especially
Yeah.
educators, you see it. And just, it is things like these books and that people are getting their no real encouragement from TikTok. And I'm in, so real relationships and real time spent talking about things with young people is so important. And adults are challenged too, but um these things that we're talking about, getting together, having conversations, really
Yeah.
listening to people, seeing them, sharing what you've learned, admitting mistakes that you've made, what you've learned from them. It's just what helps people get through the hard things that happen with them.
So true. I think too, just going into, 'cause I know we wanted to share something that's encouraging happen, but I'll go ahead and dive into that. Uh, you talked about like working with students and encouraging people. One thing that happened for me, just late last week, I had opportunity to speak in the district. It's close to my hometown. It's the next town over. Both areas, good people there. Good people have been great for me. And so I'm speaking to this select leadership group of middle school students, and then and this little girl comes up to me afterwards, and like she looks at me, and like I'm just look at her, and she says to me, "Now I see why my aunt and uncle love you so much." And I was like, whoa, like who's your aunt and uncle, right? And so then she went on to tell me, who they were, and of course, her uncle and I, we played college football and we've been friends, And I didn't know, like, she hadn't seen that little girl since she was like a baby, so it didn't register with me. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. But it really warmed my heart, just to have that. And then in that same group, it was a young guy, and boys, typically won't hug, right? This boy came up and said to me, he's like, that was amazing. Can I give you a hug? And that was so good for me, just to know that, I was able to give them something that was beneficial to them, and it really encouraged me, to just continue to fight the fight and strive to help and to be of service. And it just reminded me just to just keep pushing. So sometimes we get no's, but those no's, give us the stamina and the push to drive through to get to the yeses, right? And those were big yeses for me, and those were big yeses from my heart. And so, and I wanted to share that one. But what about you? Something that's encouraging that happened for you?
Well, I love that story. Thank you. And it's exactly what you were talking about earlier when you said live a legacy. You got to see that you are.
Hmm.
And so,
So
what's something
good.
that's really important to you? That's why I think your heart felt so good because
Yeah.
it's what you intend
Hmm.
and it's already real. So I will just tell you on Friday, I was on a call because I've kind of been a little congested. I'm fine, but I've been sick because it's been cold and then it's been hot and then it's been cold. And I think I told you my daughter told me this morning, she said, Mom, you look really bad. Like, because I just told Chip, I said, I was a little afraid to take a shower because I didn't want to be that cold again of getting out of the shower. But needless to say, I did what I had to do, people who are listening, so don't be grossed out. But on Friday, I was still in the thick of it. I was wearing my sweats, my bun was really crusty. I was in a meeting though, because I had two friends that we were getting together to talk about another dear friend. And her name is Sister Rosemary in Cameroon. And she is the most determined person that I have ever personally met on this planet. And this other friend of mine, I know who he's from Cameroon, and we were friends completely separately. His name's Tanny Ebbett, and he has a beautiful wife, Lauren. They have twins and I worked with him years ago, and he had told me, I love my country, Cameroon, and I want to do things for it. This was before I ever met Sister Rosemary. So eventually I connected them. And another friend of ours, Shane Rogers, who is amazing. He actually lives in Texas. You need to meet him, Chip. And his wife should be on your show. So should Shane. She does cooking demonstrations on TV in the Dallas area. Her name is
Oh, let's
Chef
do it.
Lorius. Yes,
Let's
everyone
do it.
check out Chef Lorius and their product, Jam Vino. But so Shane, myself, Tanny were on a call, and I was kind of quiet because I was like, "Oh, sorry," blah, 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 blah. And we were talking about different things that we wanted to try to do for our friend. And there's a lot. Everyone needs a lot of resources. She's not the only one, but one of the things that Tanny brought up was laptops. And the challenge with trying to help people in certain areas of the world is that when you ship things there, it doesn't get to them. People take it or they hold it hostage, and there are just special ways that you have to go about. So it's not as simple as people just saying, here are some laptops. So anyway, but we were talking about that specifically, and Shane was encouraging Tanny. He said, your words are your seeds. Like, let's talk about what is needed. And we were just really working together. And I could tell, the point is, like we were saying, we all need encouragement. I could tell that Tanny was frustrated. Like he just wanted something to happen. He did a camp with Sister Rosemary last fall, and like almost 100 children were there, and he wants to do it again. So we're all working, and Sunday, I'm at home because I didn't go to church. I watched it online, and I'm sitting there with my Kleenex, and I get a text, and it's a friend who said, I just felt like I needed to tell you it's a technology company that I work with. They said I have over 100 laptops, and we refresh our technology more often than most because they don't want anything to be behind. They want, they don't retire usually there's much more. And I would love to donate them. Do you know anybody who could receive them? And it turned out that this is going to be all of the different things that needed to happen were present in this situation. All in, I mean, I hope you're listening and getting chills, because it definitely was one of those. One, again, it's not the only time, but it's just so much good and so encouraging. And like you said, don't give up. Those, whether you see things happening or it's, I think it was Mark Batterson that was on Jon Gordon's podcast in the last couple of months that said it's something like nothing but suddenly, like gradually but suddenly. You think nothing's happening, but then suddenly, but it's all been working the whole time. And it's just so, there's just encouragement to be seen. And it's important to share and speak. Your words are seeds. And so speak about those things and ask, and then be ready to help be a part of the giving and the receiving. But as of today, there's already been communication about how that's all going to get into the hands of the people that needed the thing in the first place.
So good.
It is
It's so
good.
good. And what's crazy is in any of those situations that you're in, like you don't know how things are going to transpire, right? But when people know that you're striving to do good, people will always seek for opportunities to help you do more good. And I've seen it, and I say it like this: I believe that opportunities bring opportunities. All right, and so when you are in a situation where you're just striving to, you know, maximize the opportunities that you're blessed to have, it puts you in position to be able to first have more opportunities, but then it puts you in position to be able to give opportunities, help other people have opportunities as well. And I believe that our relationship is prime example of that.
Yeah. Well, you, yes, you're a great example of it to watch. And then we do enjoy, and it's a gift to enjoy this so much. I think you and I get a lot of pleasure out of being like, these people are both doing this thing, and oh my gosh,
Yeah,
how cool is
for
that?
sure.
And
Yeah.
I do have personal enjoyment in that, I'll admit. But it's also like, look at that.
Hmm.
It is so available to us still when there's so much that's just can be discouraging. And I saw your face when I mentioned Tanny's name, like, um, Tanny, he's one of those people too, because he wanted to do this, and he knew that he couldn't be a conduit to getting things to Sister Rosemary if he didn't establish all the official stuff. So he started this thing called Equipped for Life, and so that he could actually get the resources through to the people that needed them. Because when I sent a bunch of Energy Bus books over to Cameroon, like a complete dork, they were held hostage in customs. And then the publisher said, you're going to have to either abandon the shipment or send it back. And we didn't know what to do. And finally, I said, well, you don't want them to just be wasted. So send them back. We'll figure out something else. And as soon as we decided that, they all got sent to Sister Rosemary anyway. But the point is, sometimes you just have to really get people who know what's happening in different areas to be able to get the things that are needed to the right place. But those are two encouraging stories. And I love that, I was thinking when you were smiling so big, talking, I mean, your smile got huge when you were telling that story. And I was like, Gronk has nothing on you with his like snow teeth whitening smile. And like, I really feel like I have no affiliation with him, but I do see his ads like with the big smile and the white teeth. And I'm like, Chip might have an opportunity to be a part of that. You need to be, hopefully he'll hear about it and say, you know what? Yeah, go get it. That's a great slogan for go get that white smile you've always wanted.
Yeah, Gronk, hook us up, man. What's up?
Yeah. Why
Go
not,
get it,
Gronk? I
baby.
mean, look at Chip Baker. I mean, look at that. You
That's
know you'd
it.
get
That's it.
customers.
Yeah, let's
Coupon
go.
code Chip.
I love it. So good. Well, as we close, I'd love for you to get an opportunity to share with the audience, all the sites, all of those things where they can go show you some love with all the amazing things you have going on.
Right now, ladies, gentlemen, all the people who might hopefully be encouraged, I would love for you to go to Amazon and just look for Work is Personal, Amy P. Kelly. And the book is there. I'd love for you to check it out. If you do check it out, write a review if you like it. But the other site is workispersonalbook.com. And hopefully by the time you're listening to this, it'll be up. It's in development as of the time of this discussion. So for right now, the best thing to do really is to pre-order your copy if you're interested at all in the topic on Amazon. What about you,
There it
Chip? Where
is.
should they go to see the
Yeah.
documentary or the
Yeah.
next movie theater or
hmm
what's going on?
So, all of my social media is at Chip Baker, TSC, as in the Success Chronicles, except for X, and it's Chip Baker 19. And so, with the documentary, it's so good. So we can't just put that out there for free, but we're working on getting it into some platforms and uh, s- into some film festivals. So that's what we're working on now behind the scenes, and more to come on that. But we do have a short documentary. My guy Gabe Fogelman, and I don't know if I shared this story with you, but he's one of my former athletes. Yeah. And so he produced both of the documentaries. So we have one, Reconnected, which tracks our journey. It's a short, it's only like 11 minutes, but it's a great story about, coaching, education, faith, and just, people being there for one another when we didn't even know we needed one another. And so Reconnected is that, but it's out on my YouTube channel as well, Chip Baker, The Success Chronicles. But yeah, I'd love for you to go show some love. The books are on Amazon as well. Um, all of my social media, I have my uh, online store. So feel free if you don't want to get, signed copies and merch and hats, go get it stuff. Any of
I
that you
know.
want
I
to
like
get,
that 3/4 zip right there. That's
yeah.
sharp.
If you want to get any of that, please go check that out. But yeah, that's my stuff. And
And
Amy,
send
again,
Gronk a note, a DM, and say, if you
yeah,
don't know Chip Baker, he should be somehow related to your
yeah,
snow product.
yeah. Reach
Connect
out to
that.
Grunt and tell Grunt to go get it. Come get Chip. Okay.
Yes, come get Chip, and he will help you because yes, all that is so good. It makes me happy to hear all that. And
Yeah.
thank you for sharing time with me.
Of course, always a pleasure to do that. Love what you're doing, Amy. Love what you're about. I believe that you help so many people and be of service. You have to highlight people that's doing great things of service, and it's my pleasure to have you on the Success Chronicles and to show you some love. And I wish you continued success.
It's mutual. Thank you.
All right, and thank you guys. We'll see you next time. God bless. Go get it.